Let's get comfortable with the uncomfortable. Today on the Prenup Podcast with GG Mirvis, founder and CEO of Desolas Mezcal. Welcome to the Prenup Podcast. Today's guest is GG Mirvis. She is the founder of Desolas Mezcal and also this amazing new Desolas body oil. Full transparency, I'm an investor in the Mezcal. It's delicious. It's incredible. You can get it in how many states now?
8.
8 states, including New York, Florida, Texas, California,
Colorado, Georgia, Tennessee.
Oh my God.
Jersey.
Wait, I didn't even know about Georgia. We're going to have to get Lilibet down there.
Georgia is
housing. We need to just get her to, go to every bar and restaurant in Savannah. We got to get Lilibet hawking Desolas down in Savannah.
I love
Greatest
Savannah.
brand rep ever, Lilibet Clark.
I love Savannah.
It's the best. It's a really special city. It's great.
One of the best restaurants I've ever been to was in Savannah.
We could actually turn this into a restaurant pod, which would be really amusing. But we're going to get into prenups and other things instead. So as I usually start all these, I chat about how I met my wonderful guests. Gigi and I met in 2013. I had just moved back to New York to work for Hillstone. And Gigi was launching your first business. Tell us more about that.
I was launching a tequila coconut water premix that was really before White Claw, all these premixes, but it was a healthy alternative to beer. And it was a concept I had in college, and we actually launched it when we graduated, me and another girl. I think it was kind of my intro into this alcohol world. I had never really my family's in the alcohol industry or anything. I kind of got plopped into it and kind of set the stage for my career.
What year did you sell that?
2015, 2014. Yeah.
And you continued on the journey in the alcohol and spirits world by brand marketing and doing
and then worked for Remy Martin, worked on Louis the 13th, worked with the distributors, buyers, kind of all the different angles of being in an established liquor brand. And then after that, I had launched Desolas. I was kind of working on Desolas in the meantime.
Give me the inspo behind Desolas.
The really inspiration behind it is I was traveling a lot to Mexico with my first project. And during the time, really learning a lot about mezcal and kind of going to Mexico City and learning about tequila, mezcal, agave in general, and drinking a lot of different types of mezcal and understanding it. And I'm like, wait, there's so many that aren't smoky. At the time, I think there was only Vita. Illegal was sort of new, as entering the market. I've been trying different ones. I'm like, wow, there's so many that are great that I love. And I come back into the US, and there was really nothing. And basically, when I started talking about maybe doing something like this, and a woman had actually helped me with my first project. She was my mentor. She owned the facility that I had started Pico, the first project with, the tequila coconut water project. And I was telling her about, I was really interested in mezcal. She's like, you should really try this mezcal that's made by my family members. So I tried this, which was now Desolas, and it was made from a different agave, which is Samiana, which is what I fell in love with, which is a really fresh, earthy agave type to make mezcal with that is not super smoky. And I realized I think there's such a market for displaying mezcal in a different light. It's not about the smoke, it's the process, it's how it's made, the different variations in flavor, it's the different regions where it's from. Sort of like wine. So if you start becoming obsessed with mezcal, it's almost like having that wine connoisseur energy where you're learning the different regions, how it's made, what the family story is. And I tried this one, thought it was amazing, wanted to bottle it. And then, that's where we are. That's where we are.
And as you are building this company, you meet your now fiancé, Jordan.
That's right.
How did you guys meet?
And we met on a dating app on Hinge. Funny
Shout
enough.
out to Hinge.
He's my first actual date from a dating app.
Ever.
And the way that I matched with him was my mom. You know this story?
No.
My mom and I were fighting a lot. She was like, Gigi, you're not meeting anyone outside of your circles. Blah, blah, blah. You need to go on the dating apps. You need to go to the dating apps. I'm like, oh, I'm on them. So you need to go on dates from them. And I'm like, I don't want to do this. I meet so many people in real life. I literally host events for a living. Anyways, I'm like, here, take my phone. She actually liked him on Hinge.
She liked him.
Yeah. Then eventually I think he messaged me, and I think it was in the same, I don't know. And she responded to him. I was like, what do I say? This guy messaged me. She responded to him. And then, yeah, so it was just kind of funny.
I love
And
that.
then we ended up going on a date. He was in New York. I was in Miami. I had set my settings, I guess, to New York. Um, and I was going to New York the next week. So we went on our first date.
Where did you guys go on your first date?
We went to Little Branch.
Oh, is that where he proposed?
Yeah.
Okay. So you
Yeah.
guys date for how long?
Until he
Yeah.
proposed, like a year and a half.
And you knew what you wanted because you had been engaged before, wasn't the right partner. Things didn't, go the way that you wanted them to go. And then you meet Jordan. And how did you know that this was different?
I think a lot of growing up and just, as a woman, you think, or you're trained to think sometimes marriage is the destination.
Mm.
And once you get there, that's what you want. And I think with my first engagement, I think I was very focused on that. I think with this and after that and learning myself more through the, breaking off my first engagement, I think I knew I wanted someone that made me feel at peace. And I think that with Jordan, things just made sense. And instead of, obviously every couple has their things,
Yeah.
those things made sense and it felt really easy. And I think we spent so much time together in long periods where we didn't, it was easy versus
Yeah.
like, so that. And I think the other thing is, I think with our relationship, when any person was feeling some sort of anxiety, I think within the relationship, the other person reassured them. And without waiting too long, that anxiety feeling, oh, is he going to ask me to be a girlfriend? Or it just kind of naturally happened, which I think was also a good sign.
Do you feel like you have good communication across the board?
Yes. I think we have very different, we believe in horoscopes. I'm an Aries. He's a Libra. I don't know. I'm going to explain that, but I'm very direct in communicating. I don't fluff. Especially when I'm heated, I'm like you think I'm all calm and collected. I seem really chill up until I'm angry or I'm really passionate. I also react quickly. My mind is right away conglomerates everything. And I need to like figure it out now. And I don't want to. Jordan reacts differently. He likes to think through. He needs time and space. He doesn't like quick yell at, like, talking, talking, talking. So I think we've both had to learn, or still learning probably, because
Always.
that I need to like kind of pause sometimes, really think through the message I want to get through,
Mm-hmm.
and has been trying to accept me for being passionate and crazy girl vibes, which I love. That's who I am.
It's not crazy girl
I'm just
vibes,
kidding.
it's vocal.
I know.
Vocal vibes.
Vocal, but you know what? There's a way to be vocal. It's true.
Yes.
We're both learning. I think but the communication styles, they take a while to get adjusted. I think in any relationship, any partnership, any business
Mhm.
relationship, everyone has a different way. Mine is more fiery. His is more airy.
I need to like look into all these signs more is what I'm learning, I think, today. Because I need to go and maybe
I
download.
know you're a Virgo.
Yes.
I know a lot about you.
I hope.
My mom's a Virgo.
Oh gosh. So I'll be on someone's dating app soon, helping them find out who they're gonna get married to.
Right.
Yeah.
But you do that.
Kind of. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I like definitely piece people together, especially people who I've dated who I'm like, you're not my fit, but you'd be great for this person.
Yeah.
I know.
You do that.
I know I do that.
You're too nice. But never selfish.
I'm not too nice. There's good people out there.
Yeah,
They should meet, right?
I agree with you on that. And
Yeah.
you know what? Sometimes I pair people and I'm like, I do that too. You know what? Even if it's like crazy, at least it's an okay kind of good date. Usually it's a good date.
Yeah. I mean, when is it not a good date in New York if you're out somewhere great? Actually, no, I take that back.
No,
I've had some bad dates.
Take it back.
Wow, that was a rose-colored glasses moment. There have been some bad dates.
By the way,
Yes.
it's actually when you're a people pleaser and like person at heart, which I am. Like I'm good at like adjusting, whatever. You end up going on dates and you can be funny, you adjust what the person is saying. So the person's actually having the best date no matter what. Even if they're awkward, even if they don't like you, even if you don't like them, because you're like, actually, like what my therapist has told me is when you're on dates, you should actually feel into your body about how you feel with the date versus
Physically.
Yeah. Do you feel like pleasing? Do you feel like actually engaging? Do you feel like this person actually has things in common? Or are you trying to come up with ways to like,
Find that vibe.
and once you're in, because it's hard for me, it used to be hard for me to like leave the date being like, did I actually like him or was it fun? Did I like, because you're just an easygoing thing.
Yeah. Wait, I never thought about it like that.
You know what I mean?
Now I'm reflecting on some dates I've had.
Once you're in the date, you just ask your body and ask your head, what do I feel actually?
Hmm, I should do that more.
I feel like you know yourself though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I do. But I definitely also, it's very easy to, there's so many ways to love people. And it's so easy in my mind to love so many different types of people that, I think all of us are always continuously trying to find out how we can love someone and also be loved at the same time, right? For who we actually are and who they really are. Because it's easy to love someone for what you think they can be or what you would like them to be. But to your point of loving them for who they truly are and vice versa, it can be challenging.
That's the whole let them thing.
I love her.
But
Mel Robbins.
but the thing that stood out to me, a lot of it, is that once you let them and they show you who they are, 'cause that's the theory, is that people show you who they are without controlling or being very anxious because you're basically being anxious twice. So once they show you did you read the book?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yes, but
once they show you who they are, like,
you either tell them that you don't like it, and if they change, then that's awesome. They listened, you guys got constructive feedback, your relationship with them is better. But if they don't, if you decide to stay, you must love them for who they are, no matter what. And and if you don't love them for who they are and with that fault, then you have to think about leaving the situation, which I thought was interesting.
have you been able to kind of apply that?
Yes. I think there's all relationships are a give and take, a lot of things. I think is very important to me is not to lose sight of who you are in
Mhm.
relationships because I can very much get carried away, but then kind of be like, why did I get carried away? Like angry. And then it creates this, I think, with relationships specifically, keeping to who you are, being honest to yourself, but at the same time, having to bend halfway because you can't always win for both sides. And you can't let someone always win. And you can't let yourself always win. It's really coming to middle ground always because there's always conscious disagreements. And then secondly, I think it's really about like getting over it quickly. Yeah.
So we have some friends who are going through divorces right now. We have some friends who are getting married. We have some friends who are divorced. We have a variety of friends, lots of friends who are going through different
Many friends.
things. Many friends going through many different things. How has going through taking this next step for you and Jordan, watching some friends who have gone through some different challenging times recently, did it make you think differently about how you wanted to go into your marriage, what type of conversations you wanted to have before you guys actually get married, beyond just like a prenup, right? Like a prenup, you and I have talked a lot about prenups, they're necessary, et cetera. But like, what are the other things beyond the prenup that you were like, wow, these are things that I think I need to talk to my partner about to kind of set us up for that next chapter that don't have to do with finances?
This is going to sound a little crazy, but I think a lot of the questions that I really had pending were answered prior to even engagement because I think they were so important to me in
Such
general.
as,
Like concept of what infidelity is, like what's the reaction to cheating that either of us would have,
and how do you define cheating?
and how do you define cheating? Like I think that was like what is you know concept of dishonesty, what's like white lies and what are lies, what should we tell, like what's even like what you tell a partner and what you don't, and kind of I think there's a lot of there's two spectrums. You can either be completely and totally honest about every possible emotional concept in your head with your partner,
Hmm.
or you don't say anything at all. And there's somewhere in between that I think is the middle ground where you both really understand each other's boundaries. And I think the other element to this whole thing, which has happened prior to engagement, is once you set a boundary with both partners, if that boundary is crossed, there should be, you need to like actually act upon whatever you said. So
Mhm.
like a lot of times people set boundaries and their boundaries are broken, and then later on it's harder to fix it. You set the boundaries from the start in your relationship, I think sets the tone for your future, and it kind of sets the bed for you both. With the French, friends and people that I know, that I'm very, which I do talk about with my therapist too. I do compare a lot in general in my head, and I don't necessarily do it for bad things. I just do it for everything. I kind of study people and their relationship and what led someone to act a certain way and what led someone to be, to cheat or not to cheat or this or that. I think it's important to remind yourself that nothing is as it seems. So the more you can compare all you want, you actually don't know what is going on in anyone else's home. You have no idea what's going on behind closed doors. You actually don't know because maybe they can tell you something, but
You're only getting one side
yeah, you
every
also
time.
just don't know. Like you only know what's going on in your house and like what's going on with you and how you feel. And I think that's a really important element when you're having people around you going through things and things falling apart, things coming together, things looking like they're amazing, things looking like they're really bad. You really don't know. And so the more you focus on being a good person from the inside and being good to your partner and being kind of good to the world as a whole, I think it keeps you kind of in the aligned kind of. So yes, I don't know if that answered any of your questions.
No, it did. It's how you show up in your day to day. And I know we've talked about this before, which is you should be able to be who you are to your partner for all of your friends as well, because friendship is part of partnerships. Yes.
You don't do mean things to your friend. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't do mean things to your friends,
You don't
but you also,
your friend like
yeah.
right.
So why would you ever treat your partner like that?
Right.
Yeah. And friendship is kind of like of the foundation. And then it's
Yeah.
beyond that because your partner should be above your friends.
Yeah.
Why else would you spend that much time with one individual?
Yeah. I agree with you.
Okay, but what were you going to disagree with? Like, how did you think I was just saying, oh, I want to know what you're like? No, that is a hard no.
I think sometimes people feel pressured to make sure that they have the same friendship with their partner as they have with all their friends, meaning like keeping in contact, being in their lives, being in this, like then they feel bad when they're not there for their friends and they're not there and this and that. And I think there's a unfortunate truth about prioritization of relationships and creating family, if
Mm.
that's important for you, where sometimes you have to, if you're trying to create your family, there will be issues that come up with your everyday that make it more difficult for you to be a present friend sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like not just about you anymore. And I think that's something that sometimes people who don't necessarily have someone maybe forget that there's all these things happening in your life that are not now just about you anymore. They're about external factors. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Totally.
Okay.
I was just talking with someone actually about how he's dating someone who has children from a previous marriage, and they are now trying to see how their lives fit. Something that was really interesting to me was, they've been seeing each other for a while, but they've been seeing each other in silos. So doing everything just the two of them, without the kids involved, without the families involved, without the kids being in school since it's summer right now. And it's really interesting because for so long, you can make decisions just as a sole person. But when you decide to really go into a relationship and commit to that other person, it's like, oh, I have to take into consideration my girlfriend's kids, my girlfriend's ex husband, my girlfriend's family, my girlfriend's business, and all these other things. So if I make a decision to leave this weekend or to, historically accept this dinner invitation or whatever it might be, I now have to think about it with this other person in mind, which is a very different lifestyle and a different, I would say, cadence to just being a single person, being able to do whatever you want, whenever you want.
I think it's more difficult for some than others, especially the longer you are single,
Hmm.
because you get set in certain ways and things that are like, well, why would I do something like that? It's like, well, because now you're in a relationship. And it's like, but I don't get it. Like, it's like you have to rewire that.
Yeah.
That's why like getting into relationships later on in life are difficult for they require a lot of like compromise
Hmm.
because when you're younger, I think you're still learning yourself. You're still creating your patterns, and you can do them together with someone, whether you drift apart or not. That's, whatever. But when you're older, you have your patterns that now you have to kind of make work with someone else who already had their patterns too, you know?
Patterns. So, as I told you, coming back from Hoffman, when you sit down and you look at all your patterns and you're like, wow, so many of these problems could have been avoided if I had just recognized it. But to your point, it's half of it's recognizing, and then half of it's actually changing.
Yeah. But I think there's, I don't know if this is going to segue, but like, I do really believe that everything in your life happens how it's supposed to.
Hmm.
And some of the patterns that yes, you could have avoided earlier or whatever, I think they wouldn't have led you to whatever you're meant to be if you didn't have those situations. I think if you're an awakened individual about help and just being a better person to humanity, eventually you'll become whatever you're meant to be. But the path there may have required more time or less time.
Yep.
It's just, you don't know. And I really am a big believer. Everything is working exactly how it's supposed to be, like always. So even when you don't know and you don't understand, I always come back to this. And recently, just telling Jordan, I'm just like eliminating thoughts that do not serve me recently. Like I just don't want them anymore. And it's been working.
Do you think that has a lot to do with your study of Kabbalah?
Yeah. I mean, my family was in the Kabbalah Center for a long time. And so when I was younger, I was raised with using positivity to help navigate young decision GG. Like, I was put into astrology classes when I was 13. So I like that stuff has kind of been ingrained. And I think Jordan and I actually started studying together, which has been really helpful because actually coincidentally, on our first date, one of the reasons I thought it was really special out of all the first dates I've had was we spoke about Kabbalah.
Really?
Yeah. We spoke about the fact that he had studied it in a different way and that I had already studied it for years because I was younger. And he'd always like we connected a lot virtually and like this concept.
Mhm.
So later on we actually started taking class together and now
That's
we really love it.
amazing.
It's really fun to take it with your significant other. Any kind of I think self-help class because you
Mhm.
leave the class and you kind of talk through things and then like when situations come up, you kind of use something that you learned to help like fix it.
Yeah,
So,
growing together.
yeah, I think it takes yeah.
Yeah,
It takes a village of things. Yeah.
it does. So, yeah, what I really wanted to chat with you about is, I mean, you're a female business owner. You've built this incredible company, which can't wait for its, continued success. You've really brought it to the forefront, especially as like a female founder. Going into marriage, how do you think about protecting this business? In my mind, you and Jordan are going to be together forever because I'm obsessed with him. You might be obsessed with him, but all of your friends are also obsessed with him. And we're so excited for you guys to get married and do this next chapter. But as a business owner, you must be thinking about your stakeholders and everyone else. And like, how do you look at protecting your business just in case something happens down the road? How do you view prenups as a female business owner?
We are a founder couple. He also has a business. That's another reason why we really bonded because I've never been with someone who also is like entrepreneurial from the start.
Mhm.
Like he's also always followed a path of entrepreneurship and has an amazing technology company and also entrepreneur in real estate. I think we both with specifically like if we're talking about this relationship with him, like we both have a very similar opinion about the prenup.
Mhm.
Um, which is both our companies we started from before we met. And so his is his and mine is mine.
Yep.
We do believe that like things in the future that we start together, those things will be ours.
Mhm.
But we definitely have a clear line about those things. And I don't think that there's much kind of question marks. Obviously, there will be question marks. I get it. If one of our companies does a lot better than the other company, and then later on, what is actually who's what. But I think that kind of the gamble you're supposed to take with the getting together as
Totally.
a couple because you're assuming that you're happy for the other person regardless. And that's hard now. Who knows how things are going to happen? Totally get it. Life changes, people evolve, blah, blah, blah. But I think it's pretty simple with this specific thing.
How early into your relationship did you start talking about a prenup? Like, was it pre-engagement? Was it post-engagement?
It was kind of early. It was pre
Good.
engagement. And it was because I don't know if I can say, well, it's because I guess his mom was getting married
Hmm. Again,
again.
she'd already been divorced.
She'd already been divorced. This is her second marriage. And prenups had come up as a conversation. And so from those conversations led to our conversations. And because we're both founders of our own companies that we met, we have a similar mindset. I think if he wasn't or I wasn't, it would be a very different mindset. It makes it a little less complicated, I think, than if someone who has their own company and then the other person kind of just has a job that they may or may not stay in. It's a total different thing. It's like, well, what if I help you with your company? What if I, because Jordan, by the way, helped me a lot with my company. Like he's really instrumental. He's such a great connector. He's helped raise a lot of money. One of the things I love about him is that he really does it for like, he's just a great person. Like
Mhm.
he's not really trying. And I think with similar with him, like I helped him with his company but it's also fun for both of us because this is something that we're passionate about. Like we like companies. So this is a different, I don't know if we're just different.
No, and I'm also not going to try to lead you here, but I also, I think one of the things that we've talked about in the past is that at the end of the day, it's a prenup is not because you ever think that your marriage is going to fall apart. It's actually like in preparation for even being more successful together as a couple and looking holistically. It's like, what are we bringing to the table together and what do we want to build together beyond this? Which is like, sounds like what you guys are really doing. Because at the end of the day, you're not going into this thinking you're going to ever get divorced. It's more of, okay, this is where we're starting together. Let's see how we can grow this after we're married.
So just to tie it in with Kabbalah, because it's funny because we're learning about like getting married and this like spirituality in general about like what you should be like consciously thinking when you're uniting with your person under
Mhm.
the whatever. And one of the questions is one of the things is like you're not really supposed to say, "Oh my god, today is the day I love my partner the most," because it's actually hopefully not the day that you love them the most. Should be the start. But what am me and this partner bringing to this world? And me and Jordan are doing this exercise where we're writing down what we're going to bring to this world as being a couple. Whether or not we manifest or not, it's the intention. And I think as a couple with the prenup, like you said, like I think it's just creating ease for both of us. I think,
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think we spoke about this in the beginning. Although the prenup stuff it's hard to speak about. Like it also is, you don't really know till you really have the paper. So we have not gotten any of those things done yet. Nothing has been done. This is just the concept of.
Mhm.
So once things actually happen, that's when like maybe question marks happen, maybe little fights happen. That's what I'm not excited about, which is what, but most people, it's like any negotiation, right?
Yeah, it is a
Negotiating
negotiation.
with a business to buy out your business, or you're negotiating with
Start a business.
literally anything. Yes, anything. There will be little things that you're not 100% happy with, and you do have to kind of give into.
Everything's a compromise.
Yeah.
Everything is a compromise.
That's the theme of this episode.
I think that might be all of it from the beginning to the end. I love that. Okay. So you guys are a few months out from getting married, which is very exciting for all of us guests that are going to be having a rager of a 10.
Better be raging and hungover on a Monday.
I cannot wait.
I'm not
Yeah.
making anyone travel. It's
Yeah.
here in New York.
Yeah. Which is great. I can't wait. Okay. So going in soon, we'll be getting the prenup. What, how do your parents, because your parents have been, how long have your parents been married?
30 years. Yeah, 30 years.
Do they have a prenup?
I'm not quite sure. They did. I think it was like a really, really random prenup or something. And it was like the first 5 years. If they made it 5 years, everything was equal.
Yeah.
It was very like time based and that was it.
Usually, actually, what's interesting is a lot of people I've been talking to. I just actually was with a couple out east, and they've been married, second marriage, got a prenup. They've been married multiple years now, and that clause, ran its course. But one of them said, she was like, you forget what the years are because you just get into the thick of it. And like once your relationship becomes what it is, you look up, oh wait, we passed that 15, 20-year mark. This is like amazing and wonderful. And we didn't even it wasn't in the back of your head that it was like a speed bump, and then you just ignore it. And it's the hope is that the prenup is something that you just lock away forever. You had the conversations, you're set up for success together, and that you can go on your merry way together.
It's interesting because there's also the viewpoint that some people have that you're getting if I am spiritual, we've talked about that. Like spiritually, like getting a prenup is like you're basically going into something, giving the thought or like energy that it's going to fail. Yeah, by creating an agreement for failure. And I don't want to say the word failure because I don't think getting a divorce is failure. I think it's just life and a step. But I'm saying the agreement is that if you and your union is not going to work, you're like already putting that out. So why? What do you think about that whole like just energetically?
hmm I mean, why I started the business because of my parents' divorce, but there's no way they went into it thinking, oh, this is going to fail, right? The reality is, statistically speaking, in the US, if over 50% of marriages end in divorce, like, why wouldn't we have an easy way for people to continue on in their life? And to your point of saying divorce is not failure, we've made it into such a thing that it is a failure. I think what's a failure is if you go through a toxic divorce. I don't think divorce itself is a failure, but I think it's a failure if you get yourself into a situation where you just vilify and destroy each other via divorce because there's a reason you got married in the beginning. You were in love with the other person. You built a life together. You most likely probably had children together. And these people are going to be in your life for the rest of your life. Why would you turn it into a toxic dissolvement? So I think that, especially even in the Catholic Church, which is what I grew up in, I had someone, which was funny but not funny, recently tell me instead of the prenup hats, I should have make annulments great again hat.
That's fine.
And it was a guy who went through like a really silly divorce. I think that maybe it's less about making it harder because it's so hard to get out of marriage right now in the US. Maybe it's about making it harder to go into marriage because I think that maybe it's
I don't like that idea.
really
No. We should encourage marriage.
we should encourage marriage, but we should be having more conversations before we get married. For example, in the Catholic Church, you're supposed to go see your priest multiple times before you get married to talk about, okay, how do we want to raise our kids? If one of us loses a job, what happens? If one of us gets ill, what happens? But so many people are now getting married on, like a hill in Vermont with their uncle as the officiant and aren't having any of these premarital conversations.
Marriage is decline. I mean, statistically. So
I think it's because people are so scared of divorce.
it's because people are scared of divorce and they don't want to share their assets in general. So that's a huge reason. I think people are also obsessed with travel now more than ever. Getting married is most likely leads to children. People aren't having as many children, especially people who have money. They want to travel. But in the end, I'm not going to judge any of
Yeah.
those people. I'm just saying, like, I think marriage should be encouraged because I believe in people being together, the union. Like, I do believe they add more to the world together than alone.
hmm
That's my own opinion and like whatever. But I don't think marriage is for everyone. But I do believe, like, I think what you're saying is correct. I think maybe I have a different like spin on it. I think that if prenup should just make it easier for you to get married
Yeah, they should.
versus we should make it more difficult to commit to the marriage.
I guess for me, it's so, statistically, if over 50% of marriages end in divorce, but of the 4% of couples in America right now who've gotten prenups, the divorce rate is 26, 27%. So actually, if you're looking statistically, causation, correlation, we can debate it all day. But by having a prenup, it there is a possibility that it actually makes your marriage have a better chance of surviving, right? Or lasting longer. And some people say it's because you're actually having these hard conversations up front and you're being honest and open and you're getting into the weeds of it before walk down the aisle or before you go to city hall and sign that paper or before you have your uncle marry you on a hill in Vermont. But
Right. Like how giving of a person are you? Right. You wouldn't have these conversations. I guess where you're getting at is like, you don't really know your person until you're divorcing them because they're going to act very different to you,
yeah,
meaning they're going to act potentially more selfish or really kind, or they're going to not really care about family, or they will, or they're going to be vindictive and want to take everything. I don't know, whatever.
divorce turns the best people into the worst versions of themselves. Like that is really right now the way it's set up, because unfortunately our legal system can be really complicated and make people pit each other against each other.
Yeah.
Flip side, I just had someone who was staying with me this weekend and she went through a divorce and she was granted she's from Canada, so it's very different laws, but it was, whatever you came into the marriage was yours, whatever you accumulated during the marriage was 50-50. And it wasn't a long drawn out process just because the laws were just different. A kid involved and they didn't want to go at each other. But I do think it's something interesting when sometimes for people during divorce, it's like a flip switch of a person. Like you could actually be the kindest, most generous, gracious person. But if you feel wronged or threatened or attacked, you turn into this like alternative version of yourself. And so I think maybe what I was saying earlier with making it harder to get married, it's not necessarily about making it harder as it is. It's what are the questions you really need to have before you get married? Like, how do you set
Do you
yourself up
think
for a more
that
successful, longer
do you
marriage?
think knowledge 100% is always power?
No,
That's what I'm saying. Do you feel that
no.
you knew,
I
like
don't think 100%, but I think,
do you think people evolve over time? And so maybe if in the prenup they reveal how much they're like not going to give, but then they grow with someone for years and they realize that they actually are way more done. They love them so much,
mhm,
right?
yeah, but I would also, and the counter to that though, is like, if you should be so happy and so in love with your person when you're getting married.
But some people get married for different reasons. They have a child accidentally, they want to keep the
Yeah.
child. And now they need to get married because they just want to create a family at this point, right? For the child. Are you saying they shouldn't get married?
No, I think they should get married, but they should have a really good prenup.
But then the prenup's going to look differently. Their union is not about love. Their union is now about something totally different.
Well, their union is most likely about financial security and stability, which
Well,
is what that recent, I'm trying to remember who just did this poll, which is like 50 some percent of couples are just getting married for financial purposes, not even for love. Like love was the fourth thing down on the list. And so it is a business agreement in a way. You and I have chatted about that too.
yeah.
It's like, yeah, you want it to be about love, but the reality is,
Just saying, like the way that you come into the prenup and the concept and your are
mhm,
all so dependent on so many things. But I do think the great part about what you're saying is that it forces you to have conversations to see where you're aligned and where you're not aligned. And it actually might help you in the future. Just have clarity where you're not wondering, oh, like I can't leave this person because I won't, or I can leave this person because. So
yeah,
that I agree. It gives some sort of clarity.
yeah,
I do believe in time prenup things where like I think time is important. I
mhm,
think marriage, if you're treating it like a business deal, then you must treat it with time as
yeah,
a
a vesting curve.
yeah. I mean,
Startup speak.
I'm saying like that I think that part is I don't know. Again, I'm not an expert with prenups. I'm not an expert in marriage.
None of us are.
So I have no idea.
Even even
I have no idea what
even
I'm
the
saying.
even the best prenup and divorce
I
lawyers.
literally have no idea. I'm like, I don't know. Yeah.
None of us know. None of us know. But we do know
But do
that,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I really don't know.
yeah. But you're just doing what you're doing because, to that point also, every couple's different.
Yeah.
Every single couple's different.
So and then there's the whole trust thing.
Us in the States, it's a whole nother pod for you and I to
It's
do.
a whole other thing where, but I do believe trusts
Right.
yours is yours and what mine is mine. If you're lucky. If you're not lucky, then it's like, well, what about me?
I love you. That's great. Okay. So yeah, you're getting married in October. I can't wait to do a pod post marriage, post prenup. It's going to be great. I'm already excited.
Apparently, do you think, have you had people that just got married?
Yes.
What do you think their whole vibe is pre-marriage, post-marriage? Like, what do you think that you took back from all of that?
Do a prenup sooner than later before you walk down the aisle. Because the closer you get, the tighter it gets, and it's way too chaotic. And there's actually a few couples who I've been speaking with who are getting postnups now because they didn't. I just had someone text me, and they lost their rehearsal dinner venue, 100 in the Hamptons, and they're now scrambling, and they canceled the meetings with the lawyers because technically speaking, in their terms, the priority is to find a new venue and to do all these other things. And they're not finalizing things, and they're leaving a lot to the last minute. So I would say, do not leave the prenup to the last minute. One. Two, don't leave the other hard conversations to the last minute. Enjoy your engagement. Be happy, be in love, but have the conversations
Like about children?
because
I agree.
there was someone I just spoke to. They were married for under a year. They probably knew like 2 or 3 months before they got married they should not be getting married. But invitations had been sent, deposits had been paid, and what are you going to do? I mean, I know what I would do.
Well, I already did.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but not everyone feels like that, right? So it's very much, I forgot. Yeah, that all had been your deposit had been paid on your first wedding.
Yeah.
Fun. Can't wait for this one.
I need to make it down the aisle.
You're gonna make it down the aisle. It's gonna be great, and you guys are gonna be in love forever and have lots of kids. And
I just want overall. What did my sister say? Do you remember what she said when we were in Palm Heights?
I don't
At
know,
the
but she was
table where
great.
we were talking about like the concept of joy. Like I was like, I feel like, and she's like, but there's this concept of not joy, but you want to have everlasting love.
I don't know what she said, but I feel like it was. She even said something about it's not
It was
always
harmony. That's what she said.
harmony.
She said that what you want out of life is harmony, not constant happiness. Because you're not, that's what it was. I was talking about happiness.
Yeah.
She was reading what you want to have out of life is harmony and not necessarily happiness, because happiness goes up and down. You can't always be happy no matter what, but you can always have a harmonious life or strive to, because that means that you can, things are balanced. Things are making sense.
And that's the other thing we talked about in Palm Heights, which is like not every marriage is 50-50 all the time. Sometimes it's 80, sometimes it's 20, and sometimes it's the other way around. But it's to your point.
Meet your partner at a different percentage sometimes.
And also you're a really different person from the day you get married to like 5 years down the road, to 10 years down the road, to kids, to businesses, to family, to new chapters.
These change.
110%. We are going to do the vessels and muses cards, which I've been doing with everyone at the end of our little pod. Total vibe. I feel like this is also very up your alley.
Decision. That's kind of hilarious.
I love it. It's time to choose. This card reveals itself at times of indecision. Even the smallest failure to choose takes up space in your journal, inbox, or mind. While making a decision closes off alternative paths and may feel scary, choosing allows us to move forward and rewards our trust in the universe. What if there's no wrong answers? How do you play with life? Choose today, and when you do, watch what opens up for you. Seek solid support and advice where needed, but take your next unfolding seriously. Now it's time to make your move.
Wow.
Your face.
It's like, whoa, I don't know. Is this a question I'm supposed to answer?
No, this is for you to take home, to marinate on,
Cool.
find harmony with.
Harmony. It's funny that we're talking about decisions and marriage.
I know. No one's pulled that yet.
Really?
No.
Funny.
I love it.
We had these like tarot cards.
Yeah, they're kind of like that vibe.
Cool.
They're just, I think they're great to pull, and they kind of set you up for like a little bit of introspection.
Yeah.
To set you on your day. Or I'll take a photo of it before I put it away for you. This was the best.
Oh.
Thanks you.